Hi, my name is Ashley Ellison, and I'm here joined today with Mr. Steve Burt, who is the former principal of Weston Elementary. How are you doing today, Mr. Burt?
Doing fine. It's a beautiful day right now, not getting too hot yet.
Oh yeah, that's the key word. Outside of achieving your degree at Ball State, what else prepared you for your job in education?
Actually, I had 3 degrees from Ball State. I had a bachelor's, then a master's, and then an EDS, Education Specialist degree. But in addition to that education, I would say that working with people, because going to school, you had to pay for it away. And I worked at lots of different jobs. Worked at Marhofer Packing Company, which was in Muncie. And working with other things and other jobs gave me an appreciation for the sense of accomplishment that you could have.
Mm-hmm. What led you to start your career in education?
My dad was an educator and sort of followed along that line.
Was your dad a teacher, a principal?
My dad was taught, and then he never was a principal, but he was a supervisor of industrial arts in the city of Muncie, and then he moved on in central office job where he was in personnel.
During your career in education, you were principal at Weston Elementary here in Greenfield for 35 years. What did your job as principal entail?
When you gave me the questions earlier and I was reading them with my wife, she just sort of chuckled because of the many things and many hats that you wear at the time. And part of my goal, and if you look at what a principal is they're supposed to be the educational leader, but that takes many different hats. It can be stepping in and teaching a class if you need to. It can be also then worrying about making sure that the building is in a comfortable level for teachers and for kids. My goal was to establish an intentionally inviting environment for all students and for teachers. Wanted that to feel good, wanted kids to feel good, and I think you felt pretty good and welcomed when you were at Weston.
Yeah, no, it was a great time there. I remember the festivals and going outside for field day. It was a great time.
Those are lots of different things that are just kind of hard to mention, the many different types of things that you do and such. So a lot of it, but primarily, again, it would be for being the educational leader, but again, also had a lot of great teachers and trying to do things to help facilitate them and help them to give the kids the best education that they could.
Mm-hmm. Out of your 35 years, what was the highlight of your time at Weston?
To get a particular highlight, I'm not exactly sure, but I would say over the years, many years of the students having good achievement, as demonstrated through being a 4-star school many times. Again, the teachers did a great job, the kids did a good job, and we met the needs of kids all across the spectrum and such. So I would say that reflecting back on that, being the 4-star school several years, actually after I retired, Weston was a Blue Ribbon school when Mr. Bryant wrote up the application and such, but that was a great thing to see Weston recognized as a Blue Ribbon school.
Mm-hmm. What legacy do you feel that you left at Weston? I heard that the library was named after you. Is that correct?
Yes, that was a surprise to me that the school board did that at the end of my my last year there. I was quite stunned, but I think more of kids knowing that I cared, and it's great to see former students like yourself come up, and I see students who were like in their 40s now. In fact, yesterday I ran into a former student. He was doing work, and he said, "What's your name? Is your name Mr. Burt?" And I said, "Yeah," and he introduced himself, and it's always a pleasure to me to have students introduce themselves to me, because that means that I think that I made an impact. And students who were good students, students who were challenged students and such. And one of the things that some kids will say, "Do you remember when I got in trouble?" And I really don't remember the troubles that kids got in, really very much at all. I think kids do, but one of the things I ask is, was I fair? And basically everybody said, "Yep, you were fair." with that. So hopefully a caring attitude towards children.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give someone who is wishing to go further in their teaching career?
You mean from the classroom to administration? just do the best you can at every level. Because I taught in elementary for 5 years. Then I was principal at Riley Elementary for 4 years before moving to Weston for 35. But continually look to see what you can do to improve yourself and make changes and observe. Sometimes you can learn a lot more by listening than talking.
From my standpoint, I feel like you have to have a lot of patience
Yeah.
to move up,
Yeah.
especially from a teacher. Since you've retired, you've been involved with countless community service projects across the county. Can you tell us a little bit about what Greenfield-Sertoma is and your role?
Okay, Greenfield-Sertoma stands for Service to Mankind, if you break the word Sertoma down. And Sertoma does a lot of things as far as sponsoring different activities. Children's Theater, that we've been a contributor to them for several years. Our main focus nationwide is speech and hearing. And here locally, we have helped many people purchase hearing aids. We work with Dr. Chris McQueenie at Greenleaf Hearing, and she is a good source for people who need hearing aids but really can't afford them. She'll maybe bring a presentation to us, and then people can afford some, but we've quite often been able to purchase additional hearing aids for them or fill in the rest of the price for helping with them. We've done things as far as we do the Sheriff's Christmas Party. I think you're familiar with the Sheriff's organization in the South, but we do a Christmas party for the clients there every year. We have taken over being the primarily the administrators or whatever operators of Santa's Helpers. Any money that people donate to Santa's Helpers every year, it goes directly to the students. We pay all of our mailing costs and everything out of our Sertoma budget, and there's a complete separate budget for the money for the children as far as the clothing. And that provides an opportunity for parents to take their kids in to buy clothing at Walmart a couple nights a year, and we've done that with the Santa's Helpers. Again, multiple other things that Sertoma has done. I can remember one time many years ago where we were putting in playground equipment at where the old sheriff's building used to be. They've since moved and such, but just different things for the community, trying to help it make better. The Landing is another place where we've donated money to Letha Combe. Multiple organizations.
What other organizations in the community do you devote your time to through volunteering?
Okay, I'm also a member of Kiwanis, Bradley United Methodist Church. I help deliver for Meals on Wheels. I keep forgetting the different groups that I have worked for in the past and volunteered. I'm a member of Love Inc., which is Love in the Name of Christ. It's a group that helps coordinate help for people through churches in the community. Imagination Library, on a committee for that as far as the funding with that. I also volunteer back in the schools and Read Up. When I go through those, I just tend to forget which ones I do volunteer with. I've still probably forgotten some, but there's many opportunities for people to give back to the community, and I think it's important to give back to the community because it's been very good.
I think it's very important to give back, especially when they give so much to you. Do you hold any board or officer positions with any of the organizations you're a part of?
Well, on Love Inc., on Love in the Name of Christ, I am presently secretary, which means I take notes. For Sertoma, I am presently treasurer, which means that I have to bring the money as the money comes in, and then we have a board of directors who decides how that money is expended and such as far as giving it out. And also at church, I'm on the administrative board at Bradley United Methodist Church.
Sounds like you're very busy.
It gets busy, yes.
Outside of volunteering, what are your other hobbies?
Golf. I like to golf, which is where I would be normally this morning and such, but I enjoy golf and visiting grandkids. But the grandkids are right now in Virginia. They've tended to move around. My son and daughter-in-law have moved around, but it's been good to go around and visit with them because they've been in Georgia, they've been in San Antonio, and now they're in Virginia. and such. Those are the types of things that I primarily do. Walking with my wife.
Who do you look up to as a role model?
My father. My father was a good man, but I looked up to him. He told me, he said, I'll be the hardest person you ever worked for, and he was. But again, he was a good taskmaster who I think has helped me to strive and look on and try to do the best that I can.
Kind of leading off of that question, what qualities do you see in yourself that you saw in him?
You know, that's a good question, but I hadn't thought about it. I try to listen to people. I also try to be there for people when they need them.
And where can we find you now?
My wife and I live at 106 White Oak Drive here in Greenfield. We've lived there since 1986. Planning on staying there. That around town here, except when we're visiting the grandkids.
Thank you for joining me today, Mr. Burt. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.